super baby mama. Take the kids and lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. Welfare queens, super baby mamas. This poem is in honor of homeless mothers and poor mothers,
low-wage mothers and no-wage mothers,
welfare mothers and three-job working mothers,
immigrant mothers and incarcerated mothers.
In other words, this poem is in honor of INS with,
CPS with,
and most of all, system messed with mothers. This poem is in honor of Poor News Network, is a poor people-led, indigenous people-led organization that is literally here to make media from the voices of not people who don't have a voice. We have a voice. We're just silenced, actually and intentionally. So as poor peoples and peoples of color, how do we use our voice to resist? So all of that said, we're honored to have the powerful revolutionaries at Every Mother is a Working Mother and the Crossroads Women's Center and all the great cats who are on the daily fighting these as well. We are doing this for PNN TV and PNN Radio. So let me, first of all, can you say your name and who you're with?
I'm Phoebe Jones. I'm with the Every Mother is a Working Mother Network in Philadelphia.
Right. Well, Mama D is from beautiful. We know that our worlds are intentionally colliding. Can you please tell us what you are working on and what's going on?
Yeah, we're working on the issue of child welfare services and the abuses of the child welfare services. We've got a group that we formed called DHS-Give Us Back Our Children, and it's a group of mothers and grandmothers and former foster care mothers and former social workers and supporters who are all working to fight cases so that mothers who've had children unjustly taken can get their kids back, to stop them from taking kids that should not be removed in the first place, and to change the practice so that, you know, the whole system changes.
Hi, my name is Lori McElroy. I'm a worker at Poor Magazine, and I just wanted to ask you, well, in communities, I've experienced resistance and judgment on the part of other community members. You know, people judging women and families who have their children taken away.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if you've had any resistance from within communities to the work that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, part of the work we've been doing is public, you know, education, or, you know, informing the public, because people had an attitude, well, she must have done something wrong, you know, and that's kind of how they approach it. And we're trying to say, no, we haven't done something wrong, or nothing more wrong than anybody else has done. We just happen to be poor, or we happen to be black, or we happen to be, you know, alternative, or, you know, any other number of things that they think are not right in the family. And I feel like we're making headways and turning around. I mean, the film, when we show the film to audiences that have not seen the issue, they're really blown away by it. They've never heard it from that perspective, and it makes a big difference. When we show it in an audience of mothers and others who've been dealing with the system, which is what I really like watching, because people just really, you know, it really speaks to them, and the energy in the room. Somebody described the film as heartbreaking but inspirational, and it is that, because the message of the film is these terrible things are happening. The separation of kids from families, you know, is happening. But the other side of it is mothers and others are fighting back and really putting up a fight. And you get really inspired to see, you know, how first when you were fighting something alone and you felt like, you know, this is just my personal struggle, and you're up against a huge system and everybody can speak against you and you virtually no way of defending yourself. You get involved in the group and you've got backing. You now have the statistics. You've got, you know, this film. You've got, we're trying to get professionals and others to, you know, come out and stand with us. And it is making a difference. It's making a difference how the public feels. It makes a difference how you feel. as a mother, and also some mothers have been saying it's making a difference of how the kids feel, because a lot of mothers have said, when they get their kids back, the kids are resentful. You didn't protect me from this. You were powerless, and did not protect me. And they see the film and they see the fight that the mothers have been making to try to get it back, and also that it isn't an individual thing. It's not an individual failing on the mother's part. That it's really a whole. It's a whole system-wide thing, and it's massive. I mean, in Philadelphia, we were just crunching the numbers, and according to what it looked like to us, there's 1 in 10 children are somehow involved in the system. So it's not a small thing. It's a long answer to your question.
No, that's great. We love long answers here at CORE. We're very hip on information. Speaking as a mother who's been involved in the child welfare system, I have to thank you for all your good work.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very glad to be here and to meet you all and to extend the network of people working on this, and be in touch with each other and strengthen each other.
We've actually personally dealt with all of these systems of oppression. So we started Court Watch because I don't have to tell you, the CPS system or Child Protective Services system is more about separation than restoration. Can you speak on what this film does with that, or what you're trying to say about that?
Yeah, well, first, I also want to say Philadelphia and San Francisco are very close in another way. They have some of the highest rates of removing children in the country. Both of them, out of every 1,000 impoverished children, Philadelphia now takes 28 out of 1,000. San Francisco takes 27. And these are among the highest. Philadelphia was higher, but because of the work that we've been doing in DHS-Give Us Back Our Children, we've had a 10% drop in their caseload of foster care. And we say we have saved 369 children from being unjustly taken from their homes and put through the foster care system. So, through the film and through protesting, through going to court, through accompanying women to court, to meetings, not letting any of the women go and meet the man alone, as they say, we have worked to bring down that caseload and to change the system. Now, what we did in the film is we got, for the first time really, mothers' voices out there, and those who are directly impacted, because you've always heard in the newspapers horror stories of a child dying in care, and then suddenly they react by taking tons of kids, who shouldn't be taken, but they don't want to get blamed, so they have this panic attack and they remove kids needlessly from their homes. And given the amount of abuse that there is in foster care, it's putting kids in danger. It's not keeping kids out of danger. It's actually putting them in danger where they're risk abuse. So this film brings out mothers' voices.
How are you? So as a perspective from Relab, this is we feel that this is very crucial. How many lawyers are out there that are willing to put a stop to this? Without regards to any secret shady deals and not being quote unquote public pretenders.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, what my first thought is you should see our video, because we have a lawyer who speaks to that, and he has a fantastic line in the film about it. And he actually says that he's from New York, Professor Marty Hunt from NYU, and he says that it was not too long ago, it was in the last 8 years or so, that in the whole city of New York there were 5 lawyers committed to representing the family. New York City, 5 lawyers. So that gives you an indication. Philadelphia, has a real problem. They now in New York have like the Bronx Defenders Association and some others where they're coming up. Your chances now, I think, in New York are 50-50 of getting one of these lawyers that's committed to representing you, instead of somebody you meet 2 seconds before you go in who's paid nothing for your case, who doesn't care, who's not fighting for you. Philadelphia has very few of the committed lawyers, and then they have a lot more who aren't. However, one of the things that our group does is we fight with the lawyers to make them represent the mothers. So we go in and we stay on their case and we tell them, no, you've got to, put your four arguments forward. This is how you're supposed to do it. And if you don't do it, we're going to go complain and you're going to be out on your butt. So, so it has had an impact. They know that they're being watched and they know they have to behave themselves. And if they don't, we make a stink about it. So that also helps. But, we have the same experience.